Okay, folks, we have Connie Reagan Green. Today she's going to talk about how to write your book in an hour a day, just 30 days. Connie is a former classroom teacher and a real estate appraiser who left it all behind to come online in 2006. After a disappointing first year in which she earned almost no income and was frustrated by the technology and writing required to build a business she was dreaming of, sounds familiar, right? She has gone on to write more than a dozen best-selling books, speak on 3 continents, create more than 50 information products, and launch the first online marketing incubator. She is now considered to be an effective online marketing strategist, helping new entrepreneurs create lucrative online businesses they can run from home or from wherever they are in the world with internet access. So you guys are in the right place. Connie is truly an inspiration. She's done some interviews with us before with a Writer Help Wanted site, and I know this is going to be great, so I'll just turn it over to Connie and let her do her thing. Thanks, Connie.
Thanks so much for that wonderful introduction, Ron, and thank you to Ron and Alice for bringing me aboard for this. I really am passionate about this topic particularly, and I want to share every bit of information I can with you. All right, we're going to talk about getting your book written, your full-length book, by the way, not a pamphlet, and about an hour a day for about 30 days. So first I'll tell you that I've done this, like Ron said, I have a dozen best-selling books, and I've brought them to bestseller status multiple times, so that's something else that is very, very powerful. My students have done this, and we're busy. If you're an entrepreneur, some people are still working, we're really busy, so to spend months or years, I've met people either online or face-to-face that have spent 2 to 3 years getting their book written and out there, and that's just too long. We don't have time for that. We want to move more quickly. It isn't necessary to take so long. All right, so here are my books, and I'll take this point to say a little bit more about myself. Like Ron said, I was a classroom teacher for 20 years. I've taught K through 12. I like 5th and 6th grade best. They were at a turning point in their life. I was teaching in the inner city in Los Angeles, and it was important for them to have a role model of someone that believed in them so that they would go on to junior high, because there's a big high school dropout rate throughout the United States, but especially in Los Angeles. That doesn't count the kids that never go on to junior high or middle school, so they're not even counted in that. So there I was teaching. In my spare time, I was doing real estate. I was a real estate appraiser and a broker, after school, weekends, holidays, vacations, all of that. And if I had known back then that I could actually be an author, I would have changed my life much, much sooner. I just didn't know. And even though I was writing and writing with the kids all those years, I didn't realize that I could write it, even though it had been a dream of mine since I was about 12 years old. So it all started with the book there in the middle, Huge Profits with a Tiny List, that I wrote back in 2010. And back then, I didn't understand the strategy that I've developed, and it's kind of proprietary to what I do and teach that I'm going to be sharing with you the specifics of today. So actually I did that book with blog post, and I went on, I've done the other books. My most recent one is Book Blog Broadcast, but this is just a little bit more about who I am and what it means to me to be an author. It's truly changed my life forever. All right, so first you want to ask yourself, why are you writing a book? It's important before you jump into actually doing something to know why. So is it because you want to be known for something specifically? Have you thought about an end goal? What do you want to do? For me, I wanted to speak. I wanted to be known more in the internet marketing circles, so that was an end goal for me at the time. Now I've reached out, I do a little bit more. What is your mission, your vision, your message? For me, my mission is to help as many people as possible around the world. I have people on 6 continents. I want them to be able to work from home and make a full-time living if that's what they want or need to do. So think about, when you're writing, why will you be doing this? And then the next thing to consider is, what are you going to write about? So many of us have personal experiences that we want to share with someone else. And years before I came online, so I've been online 10 years now, so prior to that, I would start writing books, and I did this 3 or 4 times where I would just sit down and start typing, and I'd get, I think about 10, 12 pages is probably my record, And I was sharing personal experiences. And I didn't know how to structure it. I didn't know how to organize anything. So that's what I tried to do, and I was not successful with that. But these days, many people have personal experiences they want to share. So if you want to do that, it's very common for your first books to be autobiographical. And I certainly wish I had been able to complete mine, and someday perhaps I'll go back and do some of those early books where it was personal experiences that I wanted other people to benefit from. What do you want people to learn about from what you're sharing? And there's a market of people, no matter what the topic is, no matter if it's personal, no matter if it's business, and I am talking about writing nonfiction books, right? What are the challenges and struggles of these people? So in my case, the people are trying to get their business built and they're having struggles here and there, and that's what I address in my books. But think about it. Now, what if you write a book? And you can do it. You definitely can do it. I'm gonna help you with every bit of experience and information I have. What can you expect to happen? So for me, I wanted to speak. I said that earlier, and I was asked to speak actually before my first book was in print in 2010. I was asked to speak first by Armin Morin, who is on the bestseller Summit, so glad that he's here, enjoyed his presentation, and he asked me to speak at his event in Minneapolis, Minnesota, back in June of 2010. My book came out in July, and it was based on that book being released soon after. Someone else asked me to speak in a circle of authors in September, asked me in the spring before the book was even out. So when people knew I was going to be a published author, doors started to open and opportunities began to present themselves. So that was something that I was expecting, but think about what you can expect. What is it that you want? How are you going to expand on that? So for me, I teach what I'm writing about. And then think about what's next. You've written your book, what's next? For me, when I wrote the book, I knew immediately I wanted to write a second book. I wanted to keep moving with that. So answer these questions. And also, I hope you're taking some notes. I'm going to be sharing some things that I want you to take a few notes on. Not a lot of notes, just a few notes. So whatever's more convenient. I usually do it by hand. I write with pen and paper, but you may want to do it typing on the computer. All right, so how do you write the book? This is what I'm going to teach you today. And basically, we're going to be talking about organizing your thoughts. So when I talked about those early books that I wanted to write, and I would sit down and just write, I hadn't organized my thoughts. I thought that I had. In my head, it made perfect sense from beginning to end. That was not the case when I started typing. Then you want to schedule time to write every single day. And find your prime time. So on television, they call the prime time hours Monday, I believe it's Monday through Friday between about 7 and 11 p.m. Eastern time. And that's the prime time. That's when most people are in front of a television watching shows, or that's the way it used to be in the olden days. Everything is different now. But that was prime time. Your prime time is when you're most awake, most alert, most full of ideas. For me, that's first thing in the morning. So my prime time to write is for 60 to 90 minutes almost every day. I only give up 1 or 2 days a week of my prime time at any time. And it's between about 6:30 and about 10 a.m. wherever I happen to be. So you want to schedule that time. Now, just say you're working. When I was teaching, I was working at that time, so I had to end up doing that on Saturdays and Sundays and start my real estate work after that. So work around it, do whatever you need to do to schedule that time. And then the third thing is preparing your outline. The outline is what I'm going to teach you how to do. When I finally figured out that this was going to make all the difference, everything changed for me. I was used to an outline like in school where we had the Roman numerals and the ABC and the small little 1, 2, 3. This is different. All right, the first thing I want you to do is some research. So go over to Amazon and use your main keywords, the words of what you're going to be writing about. You're going to find some books and you're going to do a look inside to see what those books are about, and you're going to make some notes for the topics that you want to include. And now I'm going to tell you in great detail how to do this. For today's presentation, I used procrastination. I was going to use this topic in the past, but I just never got around to it. I was procrastinating. All right, so I chose to look at 4 different books. I just went to Amazon, I just put in procrastination, and when it said procrastination in books, procrastination in Kindle, I just said procrastination in all areas. I wanted to see what came up, and what came up for me were both paperback, hardback, and books and Kindle books. Then I looked inside, and I wanted to see what the authors were focused on with their writing on this topic. So I chose 4 of the books. And this one, the first one is Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time by Brian Tracy. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. He's the one that is the CEO of Success Magazine. And I didn't think of that as a book about procrastination, but it is now that I think about it, because I haven't read it for at least a year now. Solving the Procrastination Puzzle, A Concise Guide to Strategies for Change by Timothy A. Pickle. I am choosing to pronounce his last name Pickle. And The Now Habit, A Strategic Program for Overcoming Procrastination and Enjoying Guilt-Free Play by Neil Fiore. Now I put the dates of the publication next to these because it doesn't make any difference, but I was interested in this I really found fascinating, that 2 of the books were written back in 2007. One was written in 2012, one 2013. This is a hot topic. So people that wrote books long ago are not being pushed out by new authors on this topic. So if you have something about procrastination inside you that you'd like to get out, I would really recommend this as a hot topic. All right, here's the first one by Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog. And when you see the book on Amazon, up at the top there, it has that look inside. When you click on that, the book opens on your screen and you're able to read some of it. So I like to look at the table of contents first. Very important to me. If there is an index, and one of these books had an index, it was probably The Compound Effect. So if there's an index, and there isn't usually, then I look there. Then I do a surprise me, and I have them just show me an excerpt from the book. I'm looking for ideas, and I'm making notes. So with this book, I wrote down creative procrastination, positive addiction, taking action, the 80-20 rule, and failure to execute. I found these all of interest for this topic. I noted that Brian started each chapter with an action verb, and it made it nice and smooth in terms of looking at the table of contents and deciding which chapter I would want to go to read. And the book in general, easy to read and implement the ideas. So these are the type of notes that I would make. Now let's talk about something called the 4 questions. You'll notice that I started this presentation with the 4 questions. For several years now, I've started everything I do when I teach a course, and I do a lot of online courses, when I'm creating a product, when I'm doing a presentation such as this, when I'm doing a live presentation, when I do my own events. I'm starting with the 4 questions. So the first one is, why is your topic so important for the audience to learn more about? What is the topic by definition? Now you might think that we would want to define it first, but the truth is, if people don't think it's important, if you don't tell them why it's so important, they don't care what the definition is. They won't get to the second question. The third question is, what if? If the community utilized the strategies you're teaching on the topic, what would their life be like in a month, 3 months, a year? And finally, the most important, in my opinion, if you've got someone's attention all the way to this point, is how does your topic work in a step-by-step process? So I'll tell you where the 4 questions came from. 2 different people, Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K, he wrote, Start with Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action. And David Kolb, K-O-L-B, he wrote Experiential Learning, Experience as the Source of Learning and Development. I always like to let people know where these ideas come from before I incorporate them into my own strategies. All right, creating your outline, you want to start with your big idea. What's the premise for the topic that you're going to be writing about? Then have a working title. You can always change that title before you publish, but it makes me work in a more productive way, I believe, because I have my working title. I know what I'm going for. I know what the book has to be about. The title has to tell that story. Then there's a foreword, and I'm telling you a little bit more about book publishing in general, even though that's not what I'm teaching today. I just want you to have more of a complete idea. So someone will write the foreword for you. You'll decide. Then you have your preface. It's pain into pleasure, before, after, after. So before, I was a classroom teacher for 20 years. I was also doing real estate, so I worked 6-7 days a week for most of 20 years. After I left teaching and I came online, I was able to build a business. But my second after is that now I'm a best-selling author. I'm able to teach around the world. I have an online incubator. So before, after, after, you want to make sure you include this. The introduction is your thesis statement. Then comes the sections based on the 4 questions, then the titles of each chapter, and then the premise or big idea of each chapter. All right, I'm going a little bit slower. I want you to be able to take some notes on this. And Alice and Ron have promised to jump in at any time. All right, let's stay with the topic of procrastination. So the big idea, the premise for this topic. So this would be my premise. Procrastination keeps you from reaching your full potential and achieving your goals and dreams. So that's how I think of it. And when I write down reaching your full potential, I'm always reminded in the classroom when so many teachers said that of children, and a lot of times the child and the family didn't even understand what it meant. I saw that early on and I stopped saying that, reaching your full potential. But as adults, I think it's important. Then the working title for this, and I went round and round with this, but I decided how to eliminate procrastination and achieve your dreams and goals. So I thought this would be a good working title. It probably would change before the end. Now, you'll notice here we have the sections based on the 4 questions, but I have 5 sections. I realized after one of the books I had written with only 4 sections that really there was room for a 5th section that was going to make the whole thing come together better. So now this is how I've been teaching this for 3 or 4 years. So the first section, why? Why do we care about procrastination? If people don't care about it, then they're reading the wrong book or they won't read the book. Section 2, what does it mean to procrastinate? This is where I would define it. What if we eliminate procrastination in our lives? What if holds a lot of promise and hope for the future? The 4th section, how do we stop procrastinating? These are the step-by-step details. You must teach people how to do something or they're left with an empty feeling. Section 5, what's next? You decide what's next in Section 5. Advanced strategies, how can they engage with you further? Depending on what you're writing about, this is what you want. All right, you want to list your ideas. So I started my list. When does procrastination begin? At some point, we realize we've procrastinated about something, and we're thinking, well, is this the first time I ever procrastinated? When did I do it before? I thought of some examples from childhood. Missed opportunities. I refer to this as opportunity cost. That's a common phrase. Procrastination with family, with friends, with community, in the workforce. Is it different when we procrastinate about something we need to take care of at home versus procrastinating about something we need to do at a job? Is it an inherited trait? Can you look to someone in your family and say, maybe I got it from them? Or is it just something personality-driven that anybody could have? Are there deeper issues? Asking for help. Continue with this as long as you possibly can. You want a nice long list of ideas that you'll be including in your book. And I always start a new word processing document with my notes and my ideas, and that's where I start unfolding my outline. All right, so now these are ideas that I'm going to consider them as possible chapter titles. When does it begin? Examples, influences from childhood, missed opportunities. You can see I have a lot of things here. Finding the willpower. The last one, they're not feeling like it. I always say that not feeling like it isn't a reason not to do something. Making a plan, taking the first step. So I went on and on, but I was narrowing it down from a list of 50 or so. I'm narrowing it down more to ones that I know would be good as chapters based on my research on Amazon and what I know that I want to provide and present in the finished book. All right, the goal is to have 5 sections and 10 to 12 chapters in total. So this ends up being 2 or 3 chapters per section. And make sure that you have a nice tight outline. All right, section 1. Why do we care about procrastination? So this is what I determined would be my chapters. The opportunity cost of procrastinating, influences from childhood is chapter 2. Chapter 3, making the decision to stop procrastinating. So right here, I've got the first 3 chapters in that first section outlined. Now, there's a final step where you're going to go deeper. For each chapter, I want you to write 3 to 5 sentences that can be used as starting points. These are the chapter subsections. So I had my first section. I have my 3 chapters within that first section. And now I want to go down and have at least 3 sentences up to 5 for that subsection. So in section 1, chapter 1, the opportunity cost of procrastinating, these are 3 possible subsections, and you decide if you're going to have 3, 4, or 5. You might have 4 or 5 and toss out 1 or 2 that finally just don't work for you, but you want 3 for sure minimum. So these are the sentences that I would start with. My life is a result of my procrastinating, which began when I was in the 6th grade. Second one, as an adult, my life took a different path because of my constant procrastination. And the third one, everything is different now because of what I now know about procrastination. So now the writing begins, because at this point, I've brought this outline down to almost a black and white document. There's very little gray in there. So for each subsection, I'm going to write about 500 words. If this sounds like a lot to you, write fewer words, write 300 or 400. When I started writing, when I came online, it was all I could do to write a 250-word article or blog post. 250 words was a challenge for me. And over time, that became easier and easier. So instead of staying where I was, being content with that, I added a little to it. I thought, okay, that I want to write more words. I went up to 400, then I went up to 500, and then I started writing more than one during a 24-hour period. So you're going to do this based on where you are right now. And you'll be able to finish 1 or 2 of these every day. Over time, of course, you will increase. Is this good? Is it understandable?
Yes, and I like how you're giving an actual example too, but I have been working on a book that, and I can often get just the ideas and they start rolling, but I kind of stopped writing about 6 months ago because I didn't take the time to do something like this. But all these little starter ideas in each chapter or whatever, this is perfect. And you can do it. Break it down into chunks. You can certainly work that.
Right, because that's what we're doing. We're chunking it down so that within any 24 or 48-hour period, if you do at least one of your little subsections, you will feel accomplished. You're moving forward. So if you write 500 words a day, 5 days a week, you'll still have 10,000 words written over a 4-week period. And you can double that, or you can write every day. And I'll tell you more about what I do, how I do it. I now write 1,000 words a day for the first 10 days. When I want my books going, and at this point I'm never going to spend more than 30 days getting the book out, I want that first 10,000 words out in 10 days. I feel like it's very solid. Then I go back to the outline and tighten it up, because at some point during those 10,000 words, I'm going to get off track. I'm going to be writing and I'm going to say, well, wait, what I'm writing about, I don't know if this is really going to fit in this book. Maybe I've written about it before. Maybe it just doesn't belong. So every time I get off track, I'm going back and tightening up the outline. So depending on how many chapters you have and how many subsections for each chapter and how many words for each subsection, then you're going to have somewhere between 15 and 30,000 words in about 4 weeks or so. And you can do it, you decide what pace to get that book written. But this is definitely doable. And by doing this, the way I think of it is when you move from one house to another, and I did that 10 years ago, I moved from one city to another, and I have a lot of stuff. I don't know if I'm the only one in the world that has a lot of stuff, but I do. And I thought I was doing a good job. I was labeling boxes and this and that, and I found that when things came through the front door of the new house, they couldn't just be sat down in the foyer, in the open area, and they couldn't even stay on the first floor necessarily. The box had to go into the room or part of the house where it belonged. So if there were pots and pans, it had to end up in the kitchen. If there were linens, it had to end up in the bedroom area. And I think of writing the book very similarly, where those subsections belong in certain chapters, which belong in a certain section. Don't put the pots and pans in the bathroom. It's not a good fit. So this is a way mentally that you can keep yourself focused and organized. All right, so here's the order of things, just getting back to books in general. You have your dedication, your table of contents, your foreword, preface, acknowledgments, introduction. Then come the sections, chapters, and subsections. And that's what we're talking about today. This is the meat of your book. Then the end matter. The end matter, you can have the epilogue, the afterword, conclusion, summary, postscript. I have a backword. It's my own invention. Or the appendix or appendices or addendum, and those two things are very different, and I did learn that. Remember, you can do this. The first step is organizing your thoughts. The second step is scheduling, and do that either in your mind or on paper to begin with. Scheduling time to write every day. You remember, you want your prime time, and guard your prime time hours with your life. At this point, like I said, I'm not willing to give up more than 2 of those during a 7-day period unless I'm on a vacation. Other than that, I want to be writing for sure 5 days a week in the morning hours when I'm sharp and alert and just full of ideas. And then prepare your outline doing what I've shown you here. This is my author page over at Amazon, and I want to point out a couple of things here. This is a nice way that they allow you to present yourself and to also let people come back to your blogs. I have 2 blogs that are feeds in here. I have some videos. Below my picture, you'll see where it says following. When you go to someone's page for the first time, it says follow. If it's someone you admire, someone that you want to learn from, click that little box and it'll turn from follow into following. And that way, the next time the person writes a book or updates a book they already have, you'll receive an email from Amazon that will give you that information. And that's very, very important for all of this. So if you've enjoyed my presentation, please follow me on Amazon. There's a little marketing tip I thought I would slip in there. And this is just a great way for you to connect with the world. Also, when you scroll down on this page, there's a place for you to say where you're going to be in the future, upcoming events, and that's wonderful as well. This is me. I think this looks just like me. So Ron has not met me in person, but Alice has. I think Alice would agree that this is just my double. I love purple, and here I am spinning.
I remember that outfit.
And I'm spinning the 8 plates. Now, some people would look at this and say that this was not good, that the lady was in overwhelm, but I see this as she's very focused on 8 streams of income, so her business just keeps on moving. And so this is me. I love to be the lady spinning the plates. All right, so I do a lot of affiliate marketing. I don't know if Alice and Ron want to jump in here, but I'd love to provide you with my training on how to do affiliate marketing. I update this regularly. I just updated it actually in the last 48 hours because I wanted to include more information about the Bestseller Summit. And you can get this at bestsellerssummit.com/Connie and use the coupon code BESTSELLER.
Yeah, and I highly recommend you get that affiliate contest secrets, and it's free, right?
It's free if they use the code bestseller. It's a $27 training that I created, and you get it for free. It brings it down to 0. And I give you in there my exact emails that I use. I had people for so many years say, well, of course you're doing so well as an affiliate. Look at those emails you write. And I said, but anybody could use those as examples. So within this, it's 117 pages. So within this, you'll see the exact emails I've sent on many promotions, how I word them, how I do it.
Right. And there's no better way to get known in the industry than to come up on these affiliate contest lists. Like they list who the top affiliates are, and all the other players in the industry see those lists and they compete against each other. So if you're coming up on top, it makes them all want to promote your product and get to know you, and it just establishes you as someone to know and someone who's an authority.
Yeah.
Yes, and that picture there, I'm just noticing now, this is actually stuff that I won from Armin Morin in his affiliate contest. This was in 2009, and I won, on the very right, that's a little TV set that I used to have, that I had in the classroom actually. It had a VCR built in. And in the very back there, that's an old stereo that I had. And what I won from him was a 60-inch Sony television, a Apple TV, a MacBook Pro that I gave to my tech person at the time. I knew she really needed it more than I did at the time. My Bose noise canceling headphones, and also a complete Bose entertainment center. But I won all this from Armin in his affiliate contest, as well as a consultation with some of his top people that did some copywriting and web work for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So for people, it's earlier today, Brian Rose was talking about, monetizing your book launch and selling other things. And if you don't have a product or coaching or something that you want to offer, affiliate marketing is a great way to start monetizing your list and also the books that you publish, because you just recommend products of others and earn commissions. And you always do such a great job. When we look at your stats, when you promote anything of ours, just the people who click through really take your advice and they buy. Like, we see some of the highest conversion rates of anybody when you put some traffic through.
I make them an offer they can't refuse. No, and actually, Alice, the first year I didn't have my own products. I was slow to get started with online marketing. I couldn't put it together. I couldn't figure out a variety of things. And affiliate marketing was perfect. It allowed me to earn income while I was still learning. So it was the earn while you learn system that made a big difference to me. And I could see other people as examples, what type of things they were creating, how they ran everything from start to finish, what the web pages looked like, and that was huge for me.
Yes, if you want to learn Connie's secrets to crushing affiliate campaigns and coming up in these affiliate contests and just making a ton of money in sales and prizes as an affiliate, definitely you want to grab that. Use the coupon code bestseller. So we're going to go to Q&A now.
Yeah, I think I got a lot of the basic questions. There are some that weren't so much related to the presentation, just like little other details. But if you have something specific you'd like to know about what Connie covered, and do let us know. There is a bit of, I noticed too, there's a bit of trouble with the link, but I think it's just really loading slow. So if it doesn't work right now, try again in a bit. Connie's link that she provided there, but it should be good. Maybe we've sent you too much traffic, Connie.
That's what I was thinking. You might have thousands of people
going
going there.
Your site down.
But yeah, having the book and being able to do it in a simple way, it really makes such a difference. I know with me, once I start writing, I want to get that momentum, and I want to get things out as quickly as possible so people have the information. So I think people are thinking the same way. They don't want to take forever to write their book.
Okay, and I think people are saying that. I'm going to double check the link. Ron, do you want to maybe check the questions?
Okay, yeah, I'll check the question.
Because the link doesn't seem to, there's a few people saying they're having trouble, so I'll take a look.
All right, because I'm going to it on my other computer here. Let's see. Oh, it's slow. I wonder why. I think maybe a lot of people are going. Because it shouldn't be so slow.
Okay, well, just save that link in your notes, and once the service is back to normal, you can come back to it.
Yeah.
So one question is, I think this is related to this presentation. Do you do your research as you write, or do you have all your knowledge of your subject book before you begin the book?
A lot of times I go back and do some additional research. There's something that I start to write about, and I realize that I don't know as much about that as I need to know. And so I'll go back and do some additional work with that.
All right.
I think that's probably a good idea, always to be open to doing more research.
Judy says this is so easy to follow. She hopes PowerPoint is shared to us as is.
Oh.
Such a great way to teach us. Yeah, you want to get the notes package too. bestsellersummit.com/notes, and you'll get the PowerPoint and the notes and the downloadable recordings. So you want to think about that. Let's see.
And they certainly can have my presentation if anybody, am I sending that to you?
Yeah,
the site is up for me.
Yes, I think it is working now. Maybe it was just a temporary problem. Yeah, the slideshows are included in the premium notes package, so they'll be able to grab those and download that way.
Excellent.
Ken says that she has time, have her go through the slides again, and we will use the camera. I'm not quite sure what that means. Now that we know about it, we'll only take a couple of seconds per slide. Use the camera.
Wonderful. No, there's a way they can take a picture of the screen, but maybe we should...
Yeah, get the notes package, right? Premium notes. We're not going to go through that right now.
Yes, and there was a great piece of feedback. It's so hard to go through the Q&A. There's so much to find through, and there was a great piece of feedback for you, Connie, and I wanted to share it with you before we go. And so do you publish mostly on like in Kindle, or do you do print books too?
I like to do print books, and a lot of this it's my marketing strategy. So my marketing strategy is to do it in paperback first, and then I wait 6 months, and then approximately 6 months, and then I bring it out in Kindle. I don't want those two versions competing against each other when I'm doing my bestseller, so I want to have them separately.
Is it as counting it as a bestseller? Does it matter if, does Amazon combine those numbers, or you're saying it's separate completely for how they
I've had them calculated both ways, and we're submitting it through my publishing company the same way each time, so I don't know why sometimes it would do it one way and sometimes the other way, but I like to do that separately, and that way they'll write to me and they'll say, it's been a few months, is the Kindle version coming out? And I'll say, thanks for the reminder, and I usually bring it out then within a few days, because I already have the file. It's just a matter of uploading it.
Right.
But it's part of my strategy, and I like to be able to give away, if you're in the Kindle Select program, you can give away your books up to 5 days every 90 days.
Right. So here it is. I found it. Deborah Fraser said, I have taken so many courses on how to write a book. This is by far the best and most complete process I've encountered. Thanks, Connie.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Thank you.
And Dieterell, I think, and she said how to pronounce her name earlier. Do you know someone named Dieterell?
I do. Dieterell, Pitter Patter Feet.
Hello, and she posted some feedback too, but now I've completely lost it. And R. Mackenzie would like to know about your publishing company. You have your own publishing company, is that correct?
I do. I have Hunter's Moon Publishing, and what that means in the beginning when you start a publishing company is that you choose a name for it. I like Hunter's Moon. I'm always fascinated with all of the phases of the moon and different things. The Hunter's Moon is typically in September or October, the fall of the year. And so I have the name, I have the domain, I put up a site. Then the next step is you want to buy some ISBN numbers. So you go over to Bowker's, which distributes the International Standard Book Numbers, ISBN, and I bought a block of 1,000 because I wanted enough to last a lifetime. That was my thinking, that no matter how many books I published or published for other people, that 1,000 probably would do it. And that way, that number is attached to that company, and it's just a little different. So in the beginning, I did it just on Create Space, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then I wanted to set myself apart, and that's when I started the publishing company and doing it that way. And also, we do some publishing for some small businesses.
Cool, great. All right, still looking here. And so maybe we'll wrap it up with one more question. And what do we got here? A couple of people are asking about bestsellers, and what is the definition? How does that work?
Well, I think we all kind of define that on our own. My definition is if it reaches #1 in one of the subcategories when that day that you're doing your push. So some people will say if it's in the top 100, and there's nothing wrong with anything, but this is Amazon, remember, it's not New York Times. So, because Ron, hopefully his course is coming out soon on that. Because there's so much about that. But with Amazon, what I do is every time I give a book for free, I want to bring it to #1 in at least one subcategory again. I do it that way. And it's really all based on marketing, though. I mean, it's nice to be able to say you're a best-selling author, but you certainly, just having your book out there is a big deal. It's a big deal. Something like 85% of the population wants to write a book.
Wow.
And very few people do. Fewer than 10% do. And I heard those numbers, and that's why when I wrote the first book, I thought, I want a second book, because those numbers have to be less than 1% of people that actually write a second book then, within the next 6 months to a year. So I don't like to be so caught up with all of that. The idea is getting your message and your information out to the people that will benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. And leveraging that authority you get from the book in other ways, right? Because you're not just a book publisher, you do all this other stuff that generates ongoing income and helps you get your message to people as well.
Yes, because in my day-to-day life, I do a lot with nonprofits and charities, things like that, and I even do marketing for them. And being a published author is a big deal to them. It gives you a level of credibility that you just don't have any other way. And so if you want to go that route, if you want to do some things in that way, that's something to think about. And I wasn't even aware of that until I started doing more with that part of society.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm going to do one more, because Thomas is wondering, and I think it's actually a great part for the presentation you gave, because you taught us kind of how to write, how to put stuff together. We're talking a lot about marketing our books, but this is more the getting it put together. Do you have any editing tips? I imagine you probably have your books edited by somebody else, but when you're working through it, what do you do to edit your work?
Well, I made a huge mistake by thinking that I could be my own editor. And I let that mistake carry on way too long. And now I have the most amazing editor in the world. We were connected because I was speaking at an event for Joe Vitale in Austin about 2.5 years ago. And I had met her there, and when I was doing one of my events that was based on authorship, she wrote to me and she said, I don't know if you remember meeting me, but this is who I am. I'm an editor, and we met in Austin, and I'd love to come and present at your event. I think it would be a good fit. And I connected with her, and she sent her picture because I didn't remember, and we've been connected ever since. She's just amazing, and now I can't imagine having my business without her. So the answer is that you want an editor. You want someone that you will trust with your words to really present you in the best light possible and make sure everything is the way that it needs to be. And I'm happy to share her. I won't share her publicly, but I'm happy to share her privately.
Okay.
She might freak out if all of a sudden she gets 1,000 emails, people saying,
for sure.
Connie talked about you. Are you available?
So, and she's more than a proofreader, right? Like we think of proofreading, but editing is, she does more of that for you as well?
She does, and she does it for some pretty big names out in the world, and she's coming from an entirely different place, and I've had so many people help me with editing, but they weren't editors. It just it didn't work. Yeah, it was proofreading and giving me their thoughts about something I wrote or this and that, but they weren't invested in it the way an editor is invested in it, because the editor wants it to be the very best possible. And what she's working on right now for me is my very first book, Huge Profits with a Tiny List. She's editing that book that I'll be having the revised and updated edition in the next 60 days probably.
Can't wait to see it. So I think this came up a couple of times. You mentioned the ISBN numbers, right? And where did you say where you got them?
Yes, it's a place called Bowker's. So in the U.S., the place that I go is called My Identifiers. Let me go over to that site. myidentifiers.com. They are registered. They are the official, Bowker Identifier Services is the only official U.S. ISBN. So this is for the United States. And you can just, if you're not in the United States, you can just Google it.
Yeah,
but
you'll find something.
Yeah, and My Identifiers is a Bowker recognized company that does this, and you can buy them in various quantities. To me, instead of less is more, I decided that more is more and more is better. So that's why I bought 1,000 of them. I love my ISBNs, I really do.
And one last thing is that people are getting through to that link, but there were a couple of people who had a bit of trouble maybe with the download process or something. Do you have a help desk or something, just if they have questions? And so we won't be able to answer those in the questions box.
Yeah, if they can just send me an email, because they should be getting to that right page. Send it to me at connie-green.com. Connie@connie-green.com.
Yeah, it comes up. It just seems like your site is loading a little slow. Our site comes right up. I don't know what that might be.
Yeah, I also put an alternate link in the chat box, and that seemed to go a bit faster. So I don't know if maybe what you're saying it was ours. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
The redirect.
When you put the link, when you go to any page on our site, it's kind of loading right up. But when you put that link redirecting to the
Ronald has been successful, not Ronald Douglas, but Ronald Callender has been successful in getting his done. So it does work. Just go back if there's any trouble.
Oh, yeah. You guys have like a lot of people here. Okay, so that's except my site, because I have dedicated hosting. I've got it all set up well, I thought.
And Deborah's got it. Deborah's got hers too. Deborah Fraser's got hers. So I think we're all right. We'll figure.
Okay. All right. Oh, goodness, I love you guys. You guys are wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Connie. I really appreciate you coming and breaking this all down for it. Make it easy for people to put their book together. And like I said, actually, I'm taking some of your tips and going back to that notebook I have from the summer and getting back on it, because now I have. I was having troubles putting everything together into order, and I think that's going to really help.
Okay, good, because I've kept everything simple, and the reason why is that if it's complicated, I can't do it, and even if I can figure it out, I probably won't do it because it's complicated.
Right.
So keeping everything simple has just made a huge difference in my entire life.
For sure.
All right, great. So I guess we'll wrap it up here, folks, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. I guess you want to go through let's do like a preview of tomorrow's schedule.
Sure.
I'll take over let's see, go back to that backstage pass. So what did you guys think? How are we doing so far? Give us some feedback. What can we do differently tomorrow? What should we do the same tomorrow? Let me take over the screen. And thanks again, Connie. We really appreciate it.
Eye-opening, fantastic.
That was
This
awesome.
excellent.
Thank you so much, Ron and Alice.
Thank you, Connie.
So
all right.
tomorrow,
The replay, people are asking about the replays, and Ron is actually going to go show you how that works again. We did talk about it at the beginning, but understand, it's everyone has busy schedules, so you might have missed that part at the beginning.
Yeah, it's going to be here. The regular streaming recordings are going to be here in the recording studio. So if you can't access this backstage thing right here, you have to go to customer.jvzoo.com. So it would be customer.jvzoo.com, and you go there, and it should give you like all of your purchases. All right, so looks like this is the last thing I bought here. So you should be able to click view details and access your purchases right there, and you'll see the Bestseller Summit come up. And that will send you to the registration page where you can get your username and password for our site. So you need a separate username and password, which you would select for the Bestseller Summit site, and then you'll be able to access the backstage where the recordings, once they're available, will be here to be streamed online. If you want to be able to download the recordings and watch it without a Wi-Fi connection or watch it on your local computer, that's part of the Premium Notes package, Premium Notes and Recordings package, and that will be available in the VIP section, along with the transcript.
I don't know how to mute anybody. Wait, is it under audio?
Yeah, you just go to her name and right-click it. I did it. So you'll get
good.
Transcripts, the notes of all the main points, and the PowerPoint slides. Being that we included it in this Premium Notes and Recordings package, and people pay for this already, we won't be giving out the PowerPoint slides for free as part of this package. We got to make some money from this thing, right? So, so that's part of the VIP section there. So tomorrow we're going to have some heavy hitters tomorrow as well. We're going to have Michael Fortin, or Michel Fortin, as Alice says. He's a French-Canadian guy. He's one of the best copywriters of all time. I mean, he's one of these guys. Well, some of his pages that he's written in terms of copywriting have done $1 million in sales in less than 24 hours. That's what he's most known for. And his clients have made a ton of money. He's going to talk about developing your copywriting skills to sell more products, which is something you need to know. Even if you're just coming up with titles for your book, you need to know persuasion and how to write things effectively to grab people's attention. Ty Cohen is going to talk about turning life's obstacles into life's opportunities, and he's going to, I guess, focus on what he's doing with Amazon Kindle to talk about some of that stuff. Is that an interview with Ty, or is he doing a presentation?
Ty is doing a presentation.
Okay, great. So Ty is doing between 30 and 50 grand a month on Amazon Kindle under various pen names. So you might have a book on your Amazon Kindle, ebook on your Kindle, and it might be Ty's book, and you might not even know it. So he's going to show you how he's generating passive income and living his dream lifestyle by leveraging the power of Amazon Kindle. At least we're going to ask him some questions about that. I think he's going to cover some of that as well.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Daniel Hall is known for his series of really fast books. He's kind of like Connie on steroids. He's going to show you guys how to, a new process he's using to add video and audio to his Kindle books to make it interactive and create like a value-added product and sell a ton of Kindle books. And nobody's doing this. This is something he's going to show you guys, and it's really, I can't wait to see that myself. Colin Terrio. Yep. Colin Terrio, the leader of the Cult of Copy. Going to talk about product creation, content, copywriting to grow a loyal audience, which is a really important topic. So Colin is the man when it comes to building a loyal niche following online and monetizing that following through product creation, content, and copywriting.
Yeah, and really understanding the power of persuasion, like studies it nonstop and is always happy to share the things that he learns too. He's actually got an interesting presentation coming because he's going to do a presentation, and he asked me if he does he have to do the slideshow. He usually does his presentation through a mind map. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's done as well.
Yep, looking forward to that. He's always a fun, eclectic, entertaining guy. So,
yes.
Yeah, so that's it for today. Good first day, I think. We started on time, and we're ending right on time. Perfect. I know Alice said.
So what I'd suggest to people is they probably have a lot of information in their head. We got a lot of questions throughout the day where people are asking very technical things about different pieces of software or how to do this and how to do that. But write down those things that you want to know and and I don't mean to sound flippant or anything like that, but that's where you get those little, you're going to get the big ideas here. Take those specifics that you need to know to put those ideas into process, and Google it or whatever. And we also do have, if you look in the members area, there is the Elite Writers Lab, which does include that community component that Ryan was talking about earlier today, where you can ask those questions. Because in a half an hour to 40-minute presentation, it's impossible to get to all those little tiny details, and everybody's at a different learning level. But if you want to join us in the Elite Writers Lab, that is a great place to ask those questions of your peers, ones who've already been there and done that, and they can help you, get those resources that you need as well.
Yep, for sure. And on that note, I think we'll end it here, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, 12 noon Eastern time. We're going to be starting up, and we'll see you there. Take care, guys.
See you tomorrow.